Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, I have several comments and several questions, so bear with me. I know that I've served in California's Transportation Commission. In my years here, I've never found the rail completely paid for. It's almost always subsidized. Is that true?
Yes.
Well, for how long has Amtrak been requesting funding for state of good repair and infrastructure due to deterioration of the infrastructure and the major backlog projects?
Congresswoman, essentially our entire history has been a source to try and upgrade the old assets that we inherited in 1971.
Well, Mr. Warren, I see in your report that you say the total cost of the projects included Federal Railroad Administration's NEC project inventory exceeds $100 billion, with 40 just for major backlog. Is that true?
That's correct. The $40 billion is just for the 15 major backlog projects, bridges and tunnels.
And we've only given you 22.
Excuse me?
We've only given the Amtrak 22.
That's correct.
Not quite makes sense. I've been on trains in China and France, and they have up-to-date equipment. So somehow we have got to speed up our systems so that we can provide essentially good service, since we have the best nation in the world. Am I correct?
Absolutely. This is the foundation for all the service, is having a modern, reliable infrastructure. And you can't do that with bridges and tunnels that were built when Teddy Roosevelt was president and Ulysses S. Grant was president and William Howard Taft were president.
Very, very good. Now, how are you increasing ridership, Mr. Gardner?
We are working really hard to increase ridership, and we're seeing some great response. In fact, about a third of all of our passengers on Amtrak today are new passengers, riders who have never ridden Amtrak before. There's strong demand for leisure travel in particular. Business travel is down about 30% with it revenues, but we're able to backfill a lot of that demand by creating a reliable product and really using fare and promotions and price to get new passengers to take a chance on the train.
The question I would have is, how is the cost to travel on Amtrak, and how are you attracting new ridership in California specifically?
So in California, really the state leads the program. The 3 JPAs established the fare policy and the approach to how we market those services, how they market the services. And I think, as you know, I'm sure, unfortunately, the Lausanne corridor of the Pacific Surfliner has been very significantly impacted by now 3 different events. A blocking event yesterday has severed the route. So that's been a major impact and really disconnecting San Diego from Los Angeles. But we're working hard with the host railroads who are responsible for maintaining that, to bring the service back. And I think when you do, there's still a lot of frequency in California, and part of this is needs to adjust the service to the new demands in terms of work from home. But we think there's a really strong future.
How about the cost?
Cost as it relates to passengers, the state's policy is to keep the fares very affordable on the state-supported service so that more people can use the train. The philosophy there is.
How many people know that?
Pardon me?
How many people know that?
Well, I think in the state, I think it's a pretty well-known bargain, but I do think that and in fact, you see lots of demand in various corridors, but I think there's even more we can do to get the word out.
Well, also a time delay on the affected by railroad preferential treatment not given you, but where does that play in California specifically?
Well, we work closely with our host partners all over America to try and achieve great results for the passenger trains, respecting the freight railroad's duty to serve shippers, and we see some difficulties, though, particularly in California on our route of the Sunset. This is the route going east and then across the southwest, and in our service both from Sacramento north and between the Bay Area and Los Angeles on the coastline. So those are areas where we've had some delays. Some are infrastructure related and some are related to congestion from the freight railroads.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Ms. Napolitano, yield.